All right, Matt, thank you. October is Domestic Abuse Awareness Month, and to tell us more about the importance of discussing this topic is Abiggale Rose. Abiggale, thank you so much for being here on this Saturday morning.
Thank you for having me. A little different on a Saturday.
Yes, we usually see you during the week. Yes, I appreciate you waking up early on a weekend. So before we get into October and Domestic Abuse Awareness Month, I want to talk a little bit about this book, which I know you have a copy too. It's called Healing Your Life, and it's made up of 19 interviews and stories from people from all walks of life who have experienced abuse. It's made up of stories from survivors. Why is it important to hear firsthand accounts of these terrifying situations?
It's really important to be able to connect with other people's stories, because sometimes that's the only way that you recognize what's happening to you in your life. So being able to read it, being able to see it is life-changing, because it starts the process of you questioning why things are happening to you, and that maybe it's not normal, maybe it is abusive.
And I read through this book, and I agree it's important to hear, from those firsthand accounts. I mean, whether you experience it or not, it's important to put ourselves in those shoes and have empathy for those and understand how difficult it is to get out of those situations as well. And I specifically want to talk about Chapter 13, which details all types of abuse. We hear about physical abuse, which is something I feel like is talked about more than maybe mental abuse, emotional abuse. Why is it important to talk about all types of abuse?
So mental and financial abuse is actually something that people are not as familiar with. It's easier, it's not always easy, but it's easier to see physical abuse because you can physically see the signs sometimes. Mental and financial abuse is something that happens behind closed doors, and all that the outside person, a friend, a family member, what have you, is what is being relayed to them through different people actually in the relationship. And abusers tend to be very good at covering up their abuse, having logical reasons that you can't have access to the personal finances, having logical reasons why, oh, well, I was screaming at you and calling you names because you did this thing. So it's not as easy for someone outside of the relationship to spot, especially if you know the abuser outside. They usually look very good on the outside, very kind, helpful, things that you would never connect with them behind closed doors. So having the ability to understand that it's not just physical, that it is mental and financial. It's long lasting. Broken bones heal, my therapist says. Broken bones can heal, but the abuses that happen behind closed doors that people can't see, the mental and financial, is something that takes a long time to work through and heal from.
I'm glad you mentioned financial as well. I mean, that's such, like you said, it's something you don't recognize on the outside. But turning now to October being Domestic Abuse Awareness Month, why is it important to talk about this every single year? I mean, we should talk about it even outside of October, but why should we shed light on this each fall?
Well, roughly every 15 seconds, a woman is abused in the United States. And about 300 calls every month come in to Lucas County for domestic abuse. And it's often not even reported. I mean, there are so many calls. People are afraid that no one's going to believe them. They're afraid that they have maybe done something wrong to cause it. So it's such a widespread issue. We always think that it's the exception to the rule. And I'm here to tell you it's usually the rule, not the exception. So.
And I mean, like you said, 300 calls regarding domestic violence in Lucas County alone per month. And that's probably underreported from...
Most definitely. I can promise it's underreported.
What's actually happening. And now lastly, I do want to talk about an upcoming event on November 9th. There's a fundraiser to help support the Family and Child Abuse Prevention Center. It's happening at Maumee Bay Brewery. What can guests expect? Are tickets still on sale? What can we expect?
So there are tickets still available. We've already put on a couple events like this earlier in the year. There's going to be wine and food, and I'll be providing some laid-back live music. And it's a chance to gather with community, support an amazing foundation here, the Family and Child Abuse Prevention Center, in helping provide local resources for people who step forward and say that they are in abusive situations. So what you can expect is a really good time, the ability to support a great cause, and maybe a little bit of education in there too. So.
Wonderful. Abiggale, thank you so much for joining us this morning to discuss a very important topic, and of course that event on November 9th. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.